welcome back to another AOS crowd video! Whoop, whoop. Your home for everything Warhammer Age of Sigmar from the competitive side. My name is Quin, and today I am joined, as ever, by one of my two co-hosts, Big Phil. Say hello, Big Phil.
Hi everyone, it's been a while, but got quite a lot to cram in the next couple of weeks, I think. We've got two of my past events coming up, and then I've got two team events in the next 3 weeks. So watch this space. We also have Six Nations review, hopefully.
There's a Six Nations review. I've been to an event. Matt and I are going to the same event the coming weekend. And then
Raccoon Rumble?
Yes, Raccoon Rumble in Germany. And then there's a little bit of a break for the both of us, I believe. And after that, we'll be going to the Luxembourg AOS team event. So
incredible. Yeah.
Pretty hyped.
I have 5 December off. Looking forward to it. But then it's all go on the road to Worlds from January. So we've got 3 team events in January, February, March, and then April's Worlds. So it's gonna come around really quick this year.
It's been such a short time, really. And as one of the people who was sort of involved at the beginning of the bidding process for the Austrian bid, which will be hosting Worlds, of course. It's stressful hosting an event like that. I didn't think of that, so I'm glad I can focus on YouTube content for now. But
sure,
we're not...
million lists.
Oh yeah, 100%. But we're not here to discuss World's upcoming team events or anything of that jazz. We're here to talk about the LGT. Big Phil, run us through the list, because this was pre-Battlescroll.
Yeah, it's ages ago now. Essentially, I ended up taking Nighthorn in an attempt to test a list for the Six Nations team. So I hadn't played any games with it, but it's Nighthorn, so I figured it would just do what it does. So I ended up taking 2 drop Deathstalkers, Morbid Conjuration, with Reikenor, 40 Blade Geists, Knight of Shrouds on Ethereal Steed, 10 Hex Wraiths, and then 2 reinforced units of Dread Blades when they were incredibly broken before they got nerfed. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Nearly didn't make it to LGT. Funny story.
Oh yeah, right.
So I've been incredibly busy with work, doing like 16-hour days, and I decided I'd sleep through my alarm, which meant I missed my lift to LGT. So I managed to get a train to London, and then a very expensive Uber from South London to North London. Got there in time for my round. However, I had a buy, so I could chill out.
God damn.
So not ideal. Made every effort to get up there in time for the start of the round, but fortunately was drawn into the buy. So my round 1 was making it to the event, and I 20 owed it. So lovely jubbly. Round 2, I played a lovely gentleman, Sebastian Costello, and he's part of Vanguard Tactics, which is obviously a really big in 40k in terms of competitive wargaming, and I haven't really seen it transition over to Age of Sigmar yet. But he is a super nice lad. You can tell that he's plays the game the right way, asks lots of questions after the game. But he kind of played a cobbled together Skaven list from Skaven Tide against a pretty optimized Nighthaunt list. His whole army was just dead like top of 3.
Oh no.
Um, I kind of learned nothing other than Night Haunt against a new player or a shit list was just a rough matchup.
Mm.
Um, the final score was 50-28, which obviously doesn't sound like an absolute pasting, but the way the event scored was purely done on your victory points.
Hmm.
So when I knew the game was over, I thought I had an opportunity to kind of teach him a few things about how he can score extra points, do
Oh.
extra tactics, etc., and
Hmm.
kind of coach him through the last few turns of the game, just so that he felt like he benefited from the experience rather than just getting steamrolled and not being able to do anything. So um, hopefully he um, enjoyed it, learned stuff from it. But yeah, like one of the easiest games ever when you just yeet Night Haunt across the table at a suboptimal Skaven army.
Yeah, that's just rough.
Yeah, I felt bad.
Oh
Uh,
no.
yeah, it is what it is, as they say.
Yeah. But at least you're facing one challenge on day one, right?
Yeah, so I ended up pairing into Philip Springle, who obviously a lot of you will know plays on the England team, and just recently represented England at Six Nations.
Ooh.
He played KO, which I think is a pretty dicey matchup, particularly with the no ward save
Mm-hmm.
ability. However, Phil had kind of just picked up the army in preparation for Six Nations, um, and he made a few decisions based on his like redeployments with the boat, which meant I could redeploy out of range of the guy that would turn off the ward.
Ah,
Um, so I managed to end up denying 2 battle tactics, which was slay the entourage
mm-hmm.
because I then was able to get the 5-up ward on 20 blade geists. Um, and then after basically being tabled, I think like I'm talking like turn 3 tabled eight had my 8 dread blades left,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they just did everything I expected them to do. So they allowed me to score all my tactics. They then deny the order tactic, which is have a unit in each table
Oh
quarter
yeah.
more than 6 away. So just had um, that energy of I'm going to make this 9-inch counter charge, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
Which then meant I not only got to deny him a battle tactic, but it meant I got to take loads of wounds off someone in his general's regiment, which then meant I could do slay the entourage in my turn. So um, yeah, it's quite a squeaky bum time game. Like not used to just playing with like 2 units that are relatively fragile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, got super lucky with a couple of big redeploys, which again took me out of the range
Mm-hmm.
with a super close game of 40-38 against
Whew.
yeah ironclad 25 Thunderers. Um, wasn't fun. Wasn't what I was expecting in terms of result. I thought, like I say, after turn 3, I thought I was going to get absolutely smashed, but
Mm-hmm.
fortunately, the Dreadblades held their own and got me out of a sticky situation.
Such a stupid unit.
Yeah, they're
Literally.
absolutely mental. But now they can't do it, so they can only teleport in your
Yeah.
turn. So
Thank God.
my 20 Dreadblades will now likely not see the table. Yeah,
That's unfortunate. But oh well. That's just the lot you draw at some point.
that is the life of a competitive Warhammer player, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ever changing meta, the new monthly updates, gonna keep people on their toes for a hot minute. So
Yeah.
yeah. I then had my first ever interaction with Soulblight Gravelords,
Mm-hmm.
and I must say, super impressed. Um, Played
So this
against
is game 4 on day 2, right? Yeah.
yeah. So I played against a lovely gentleman called Benjamin Sava. So Benjamin had a bit of time out of the scene to kind of concentrate on himself a bit, but is a really well established top end player within the UK tournament scene. And he had a really well balanced Soulblight list that really lent into the recursion, particularly with the way grave sites now work, with it just being any bit of terrain,
Mm.
etc. Um, I kind of played the first 2 turns as perfect as I could,
Yeah.
except for the fact that I left one bloody Graveguard alive through the Ethereal and 5-up ward.
Mm.
And then they just, with the recursion in that book, it was literally full strength like a turn and a half later.
Yeah.
Um, and with the double fights, like just mincing through my Blade Geist like they weren't there. The Hex Wraiths did what they always do, which is just go in, pin,
Mm.
like chew up a few turns of your opponent. So I was up 20-8 at the end of turn 2
Oof.
because we're playing Star Strike and I just had him completely pinned in. Um,
Well,
but then the objectives just fell in this lovely tight triangle. And at the point then, like I'd lost all my Blade Geists, I'd lost most of my Hex Wraiths, and I was just playing with my Dread Blades again,
oh
which is
no.
like the story of my whole weekend. um, and then I lost the game on a 12-inch counter charge from the Frata, which sucked. I was like, I can only land here with my Dread Blades, and I have to give him a 12-inch counter charge, but maybe he doesn't see that he has to charge to stop me doing the tactic.
Mm-hmm.
Not the tactic, take the objective, sorry.
Yeah.
And he was just like, well, it's bot the turn, I'm just going to
Mm-hmm.
roll it. And then bloody box cards show up, don't they? I was just like, motherfucker. And then, yeah, Neffy just ended up towing onto the objective, counting as more than my Dread Blades after she'd killed a couple. And I was
Oh
just like,
no.
oh. So, um, because of that, I ended up losing 32-34.
Oh
Um,
no.
and Ben played a great game. He got my like best opponent vote. And considering he was like well and truly in the mud, it just showed how much versatility there was within his list within Soul Blight, and
Mm-hmm.
the fact that he was down 12 points and then just maxed out kind of scoring after that, and then ended up taking the win.
Yeah.
So fair play to him, and it was really interesting to play Soul Blight for the first time and see it in action, and it's certainly an army that intrigues me. Let's say.
Mm. It's a super techie army. Like, I've played it for the Tales in the Wood event. We've done a video on that. If you want to check it out. And I think I've said in the video that out of the enormous toolkit that every single Age of Sigmar army has, bar maybe Iron Jaws, Gargants, etc. I think Soulblight has not only the most diverse set, but also the most mobile and the most like overall technical tool set of the bunch, like in general. Just the recursion coupled with an insane spell lore, in addition to the shenanigans they can do with going unrendable, getting a 5-up ward, and with the correct spell lore, they just become obnoxious. Like,
Yeah,
what are you to
there's
do,
so many
really?
tricks within it, and then just didn't have the ability to get to the heroes, and
Yeah.
like the whole army just procs off those. He even had is it the Coven Throne that has that shooting attack? It's like all the mortal wounds.
Oh, the Mortis
Um,
engine.
He had a mortis engine. That is bloody fantastic into Blade Geists.
Yep.
Just saying. So that ended up like killing half my army.
Nice.
Because it's like, it's like a flat 6 mortal wounds to like 3 units within 10 or 12 or something.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it was awful, absolutely awful. Yeah, needless to say, my view was fuck Blade Geists, give me more X-rays.
Yeah.
So yeah. So from an absolutely lovely game, I had an incredibly strange interaction. Game 5.
Yeah.
Not to blow my own trumpet, but a few people know me within the Warhammer community.
No,
This
what?
guy,
Really? No.
this guy did not, despite being on a national team.
Mm.
So I won't name him just in case it comes across badly. But so I think he plays on either the Swiss or the Polish team, or has played on them. He gave me a Swiss dice, but I think he's Polish living in Switzerland.
Yeah, exactly. I played him this past weekend as well.
Okay. Hopefully he knew who you were. So it was quite funny. He'd kind of like gone into it with like I'm going to play the national team card, and I'm going to give you my national team dice and make a point of saying it's Switzerland, and here's my 3-inch gauge. And then he just got a clock out, didn't even ask about playing on a clock, just slammed it down, started deploying, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And then he clicked it over to me whilst he was still deploying his models, and I was like, click. Still on your time because you're still deploying that unit. Like, if you want to play on a clock, play properly, okay?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, okay, yeah, sorry. Like, all right. And then after we'd done the deployment, I was like, oh, here's 2 of my dice. So I gave him 2 England dice. And he's like, oh, you're on the England team. And I was like, yeah, so I'm the England captain for this year. And he was like, okay.
He's getting his big fill out.
Yeah, getting the mind game started, flipping it back on him a little bit. And then I've decided I'm gonna take the turn, go first. We're playing the Vice. I'm just gonna go out, score points, try and have a bit more control of the turn order.
Yeah.
So I've done take the flanks with my Dreadblades, and it's meant I've had to get within 9 inches of his Blade Geists.
Yes.
And he's redeployed them, got a 6. He's now 3 away from me. And he just rolled his countercharge. And I was like, sorry. I was like, I think you find it's my charge phase before it's your charge phase. It's just like, you're never charging me with your Dread Blades. And I was like, sorry? Like, me charging you gives you 20 less attacks. Like, in what world does this not happen? He's like, yeah, but it's your battle tactic. I was like, exactly. If you hit me with 60 attacks, I'm probably losing all 4 Dreadblades. So I'm going to charge you. And that's when I killed 12 of his Blade Geists because he had already spent his whole load on CP, and he wanted to save it for all-out attack. But eight measly Blade Geists. And then, obviously, I did my battle tactic, scored all my points. He then YOLO'd his whole army at me, turn 1, and he was playing like 30 X-Wraiths. And he literally killed 5 X-Wraiths, as I had -1 to wound up, just score for 8. And he was completely out of CP. He put Alrak away with 20 Blade Geists, like 7 away. And I just got a 6-inch redeploy, so he couldn't charge me. And he was, at this point, he'd kind of like lost his head a little bit. And then when I held priority and did what I did, God, did he moan? Like I've not seen it before.
Yeah.
So like in my turn, I ended up taking off all 40 Blade Geists off his. I took off 20 Hex Wraiths, Lord Executioner, um, and yeah, like he rolled below average, like,
Hmm.
but that's the flip of the coin when you play Nighthaunt, right? You're 4 up
Yeah.
save. Um, he then did absolutely fuck all in his turn, and then lost Cryo, and then left the table.
Oh.
Um, so um, I just let him score 5 more points because I'm nice, because I'd
Oh.
already scored 50. Because I took his home objective turn 1 as well. And it was just like, yeah, sucks to
Mm.
suck. But yeah, karma's a bitch. Just be nice to people. Like we say, you get no extra points being a.
Hmm.
So um,
That's gonna be a
yeah,
nightmare in the edit. I have to cut up
yeah.
the entire video. Oh God.
Oh, well, maybe I should have been nice and
Yeah.
bleeped out my own c word. But yeah, it just goes to show like it's super important just to remain humble at a table, even if you know or don't know who your opponent is. Treat them all the same,
Hmm.
and karma will come around and get you at some point. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, overall, I ended up coming 5th, so I didn't retain my crown of winning LGT as I did the prior year. Um, but super happy with a 4-1, despite using what was probably the most broken army in the game.
Yeah.
Um,
With no prior practice, right?
yeah, and yeah, like the army was fantastic. I still
Hmm.
think it's really strong.
Yeah.
Um, it's just not obnoxious.
Yeah. Well, this is something that I really wanted to touch upon a bit because we were really quick going through all of the games, of course, and the setup and everything. Now that it's just, I think it's a month. It's been a month-ish since that event, and
Yeah,
we've seen a lot of development throughout the tournament scene since, as we've had a couple of rules clarifications and points adjustments. So when we review tournaments that are a bit in the past, not necessarily the most recent, we of course just not only want to flex with the achievements that we have made, but also with we want to still impart certain aspects of the game that are helpful to newer players, experienced players, etc., etc. Because certain aspects might not be that clear, really. And sometimes it's even just a little bit of a lesson, like don't be a cunt.
yeah,
It's just something that we really want to push forward, and which is why we are always reviewing all of our tournaments, really. No matter if there's been a Battlescroll since, or points adjustments, or anything, really.
I
We're
think it's
doing,
also the accountability, right? Like
yeah.
even if we underperform at said event, we will still do a show on it, even if it is delayed,
Mm-hmm.
um, because it is real. Like we we are all top players within our communities and within our countries, but you can't go 5-0 at every event that you go to.
Yeah.
Um, we all have our minimum expectations. Mine is a 4-1. Like it's been over 3 years now at an event where I haven't done anything worse than a 4-1. Um, and when that day happens, I think I might cry. But like it will happen eventually. The whole tournament scene's getting stronger and stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it's just like I say, it's the accountability of showing what what it is like at an event, and particularly the big events in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really go to many small ones. I kind of hone in on the big ones where I know lots of good players are going to be at. Um, but yeah, like there's a lot coming up. There's Heartlands, which we're going to talk about in a minute,
Yeah.
which is one of the biggest events in the UK. It
Mm-hmm.
was. Well, I'll go into that in the next video. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's super fun. I love the tournament scene.
Mm.
The UKTC has a pretty bad rep within the UK. However, LGT always gets 80 plus players. I don't know if that's primarily because it's based in London or it's the biggest like gaming convention in the UK. Like you get 940k players. There's like other games going off on different parts of the venue. Um, but a quick plug to this is that Richie McCallie, who
Hmm.
obviously, if you don't know, is on the England team. He part owns Just Play, based out
Yeah.
of Liverpool, one of the online retailers. And he had always ran the Justice series out of Liverpool. Um, Next year, the Justice series is going on the road. So he's going to run 4 team events across the UK, all 6-person teams, with the view of hopefully doing it club based. So we're going to try our best not to take England super teams to events, and
Mm.
we're going to play with our club mates. So over the course of the 4 events, you'll get ranking points for your club, and you will have a leaderboard at the end of it. So the final event, which I believe is in October next year, which is
Hmm.
in Coventry, you'll get there'll be best club is crowned from a team's perspective. So it's all
Ooh.
6-person teams. The benefit of Richie doing it is he's really well established within the
Mm.
UK, and he has a really solid idea of knowing where the top players in the community play and what clubs they should be associated to.
Yeah.
So we, like I say, we're gonna try our best to minimise England teams going to these as England teams
Hmm.
and try and attend them as our club. But we'll see what the take up is. But I'm personally really looking forward to it. I think
Mm.
the tournament scene in the UK is a little overly saturated with singles events,
Yeah.
but high quality team events of 5-person and upwards, I think, is definitely where there's a avenue in the market to
Hmm.
see some see some more Warhammer. Like Teams Warhammer is my favorite way to play.
Yeah. Especially like looking at the past couple of years, the only real events that I can recall where the team format was really pushed forward was Brotherhood, and that is actually a Welsh event. So it's good to see that the event space is growing in a direction that favors more social interaction between teammates, clubmates, and of course, team events are obviously similarly populated to singles events, but you have more of a group dynamic and less this type of okay, all the elite players are sitting at a table and they're going out for dinner later because they're all in the England chat, etc., etc. Whereas there, when you look at like clubs and club championships, as we have had them for the past 2 years in Austria/Germany, is you sit down with your club mates, you hang out at an Airbnb, you talk to your favorite opponent of day one, and see if you can organize a dinner or something. It's all just a little bit more community based, and I think that's really good and really cool to see that that's a plan going forward for like the biggest tournament sort of providers in the UK.
Yeah, 100%. They kind of have a monopoly within 40k, um, and that has kind of reached out to some of the like top end competitive players within the community to try and get an understanding of how he can translate that into Age of Sigmar. He also bid for Worlds this year. We lost out to Austria, despite it being really close.
Yeah.
I think the intention is they're going to try and bid again next year,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Super cool.
particularly off the back of what Richie's going to be able to do in terms of the running of the events for Zach and the UKTC as part of the Justice series.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like Richie's got a 80 tables worth of terrain that's like perfect for the new edition. Plenty of wildwoods, rather than these big fuck off garrisons that LGT has. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. The first event is first weekend in February in I want to say Coventry. It'll be on the UKTC website. So
We'll link
if
that in the
you
description. 100%.
so if you got 5 friends that want to go and play Teams Warhammer, then yeah, sign up, and yeah, I'm sure you'll see quite a few guys there.
Yeah, so that's basically LGT, right? A superb 4-1, satisfying experience.
Yeah, Nighthaunt were done. They're less done.
Yeah.
But
Now we're looking at other armies that are similarly stupid. But of course.
I have no idea why I would play stuff at the top of the food chain.
Why wonder?
Yeah.
Well, in any case, thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's a bit of a shorter video here, but this is just an old event that we wanted to crunch through, and again, just review on not only the tournament itself, but also some community-focused stuff, upcoming tournaments, etc., etc. So thank you all very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, subscribe, leave a like. If you have any questions regarding maybe upcoming tournaments, where to go to, question about Nighthaunt, why are they shit now? Well, they're not, but we might be able to answer those in the comments if you leave one for us. In any case, thank you all so much for watching again. We're looking forward to recording more videos, as we've hinted at the beginning. There is Heartlands, there's Warhammer World's team event, there's another team event, then we've got the Vienna Tabletop Championships from my part, Raccoon Rumble with Math and I, then we've got Six Nations, and then there's Luxembourg team tournament. So that's 7 videos that are at least planned and in recording stages. We'll be heading over. Be
probably before Christmas, and then Christmas break, and then
Brotherhood
2025. Exactly.
Yes, I'm so hyped. It's been a year, and I can't believe it.
Pairings cards on the Friday evening again.
Oh, yes. More pairing cards.
Well, I've said it already in this video.
Yes.
So, guys, remember, you get no extra points for being